Welcome Money Finders, enriching the lives of people you touch. 10 money rules you need to live by in 2021. Have you ever thought of putting rules on your money? It's a pretty interesting concept. We tend to have rules for every other area of our life. How much to eat, how much we should watch TV, limiting the amount of social media, amount of time to brush our teeth, etc., etc. Then that love-hate relationship comes up with rules. We love rules because they provide structure and guidance when we need it the most. We hate rules because rules are meant to be broken. The golden rules are the ones that should be so ingrained in our lives that we don't think differently. However, there are 10 money rules that will help you build a solid financial foundation. The best thing about these rules is that they are all things that you can control. Money Finders, the more subscribers we get again, the better and more content you can continue making. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Number 10. Buy in bulk. Buying household goods in bulk makes sense, especially when you do buy goods on offer or from wholesale shops. However, buying in bulk does not work for everyone, and it can even cost some people more money. In studies, shoppers have confessed that they bought more than they needed when they came across super deals. Additionally, perishable goods bought in bulk can go bad even before you have had a chance to get full value from them. Instead of buying in bulk, buy only what you need and can use within a specified period. Number 9. Keep your savings growing with a competitive yield. It might feel nice to have money sitting in a checking account, but if that account isn't earning interest or isn't earning a competitive annual percentage yield, an APY, you should consider moving it elsewhere. Often, online banks pay the most competitive APY. Though saving rates have decreased, compound interest allows your money to grow over time. You can compare rates on bank rates to find the right high-yield savings account for you. Number 8. Don't use credit cards. Credit cards make it super easy to spend money that you do not have, getting you deep into debt. No wonder most people feel that it is best to avoid credit cards, but if used wisely, credit cards are not all that bad. Having credit cards can help you build a credit score, which can make you eligible for more credit. Credit cards also come with awesome incentives and rewards such as travel points and even cashback. Credit cards can be a tool to track your spending while also protecting yourself from the risk of cash payments. Instead of using credit cards to go on crazy spending sprees you cannot afford, stick to your budget and spend within your means. Focus on your credit card balance, not the card limit. Rather than just making minimum monthly payments, set auto payments from your checking account to pay credit card debts in full. By paying the entire balance as soon as you get your statement, you will avoid accruing interest and thus escape the credit card debt trap. Number 7. Retirement. Save 10 to 20% of your income for retirement. The old rule of thumb was to save 10% of your gross income for retirement. That seems to be a little low these days, especially for younger workers who may not have a pension to fill in the gaps. Aim a little higher than that, especially later in your career if you really want to be ready for retirement. Subtract your age from 100. The resulting number is the percentage of your portfolio you should invest in stocks. If you're 50, for instance, you should invest about 50% of your overall portfolio in stocks. This is another rule of thumb that can vary greatly. If you're more risk tolerant or plan to work and invest longer, you should bump this rate up. If you're less risk tolerant or want to retire early, you might consider a more conservative style. Always take the employer match on your retirement account. If your employer offers any match at all for retirement investments, save at least enough to get that match. Plan for your annual retirement needs by calculating your current pre-retirement expenses plus 10%. Many rules of thumb say to aim to live on a certain percentage of your current income in retirement, but if you're saving a significant portion of your income and still living well, this may not make sense for you. Instead, use your expenses to calculate your annual retirement needs. Aim to save 1 times your annual salary by 35, 2 times by 40, 3 times by 45, and so on. This is a rule to help you see if you're saving enough for retirement. If you're far off of these numbers at the various ages, consider cutting your spending to boost savings. Number 6. Be patient. Many of the most successful investors spend most of their time sitting, not buying and selling stocks. When you find a great stock to purchase, it can be several years before the price matches the value. Many investors have sold way too soon, only to discover they should have waited. Understand the rule of 72s. This formula tells you how long it takes for your money to double. It always looks slow and tedious in the beginning. If you save $300 per month, for 20 years, the numbers start to become impressive. Amassing a fortune takes time, but that $300 a month you keep soaking away will add up to something significant if you will give it time. Number 5. Reduce expenses. Cut spending on large and small items to fund your goals, and find lower rent and trade in your vanity vehicle for a cheap car that runs well. Carry coffee and lunch from home. Eliminate ego from the equation and find bargains on used merchandise. Number 4. Diversify. Putting all your eggs in one basket can be catastrophic if something happens to that basket. A significant financial loss to your portfolio can take 10 years or more to recover. Diversifying your investments limits the amount of your losses. Number 3. Debt. Put no more than 30 to 35% of your net income towards minimum debt payments. This is the rule. If you don't have a mortgage, then you should put no more than 30 to 35% of your net income towards both minimum debt payments and your monthly rent. This is a somewhat high figure, and it's always better to have even less of your income devoted to debt. But the 30 to 35% range is what mortgage lenders in particular will look at when considering debt to income ratio. Pay off your highest interest debt first. You'll find lots of disagreement about debt payment methods, but this is the one that will save you the most and get your debt paid off most quickly. One time, you might want to deviate. If you're trying to boost your credit score quickly, in this case, first pay off any credit cards that are currently maxed out, then pay off debt from highest to lowest interest rate. Number 2. Savings and investing. Save 3 to 6 months expenses in an emergency fund. There are lots of different rules of thumb for this one, but this one makes the most sense for most people. Remember, these expenses, not income. And if you're in a volatile field of work or the economy is in a downturn, consider saving 8 or even 12 months worth of expenses. Use the rule of 72 to determine how long it will take your investment to double. To use this rule, divide 72 by the expected growth rate of your investments, expressed as a percentage. If you expect to earn 10% per year, for instance, it will take you about 7.2 years to double your money. Aim to have your portfolio double about every 10 years. How do you know if your investments are on track and growing well? One rule of thumb is that your portfolio, if well managed, should double about every 10 years. Your mileage may vary, of course, but if you're not even close to doubling after a decade, consider rebalancing your investments. Number 1. Budgeting. Try the 50-30-20 rule for budgeting. If you're new to budgeting, try allocating 50% of your take-home pay towards necessities like food, shelter, utilities, clothing, etc. 30% towards lifestyle choices like vacations, gym fees, hobbies, cell phone plans, etc. And 20% towards financial goals and priorities like extra debt payments, savings, etc. This isn't a perfect budget, but it can be a good place to begin. Track at least your problem spending areas. Some people like a very detailed budget, others not so much. If you don't want to track every line item, track at least those areas where you tend to overspend, whether that's dining out, buying new clothes, or spending on kids' items. This can help you control your spending without being bogged down by an over-detailed budget. Money finders, we hope you've enjoyed this video. Keep the discussion going in the comment section. Find us on all social media platforms. Like and subscribe to support our channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.